Hey, everybody, and welcome back to For the Booze.
For the booze.
For the booze.
Yay, we're finally back.
We are.
After being sick.
Oh, my God.
Super sick. Well, you're kind of still sick, but
am still sick.
I'm starting to feel a little bit better.
I was like 4 days behind you.
Yeah. Fortunately, everybody, it was not the vid, but...
It was not.
It was still rough. It's still a little rough. I still feel very run down and nasally, and you, unfortunately, are only on a few days in, so...
Yeah. It's a little rough, so...
We meant to put out an episode midweek, but it just wasn't looking good, so we had to abandon ship, but we are going to be back from here on out.
We are.
Don't have any plans on taking any more time off, I guess, until around the time we move, but I think we'll still even strive to do something around that time.
Absolutely.
So we got to get back on it. Now, I want to address something that I don't even know if I mentioned to you.
Probably not.
Okay, I had a message on YouTube about... the Franklin Castle episode.
Okay.
And somebody was very upset that I made fun of their hometown.
Nuh-uh.
Now, if you're getting upset because we're making fun of towns, I'm sorry, not sorry. Like, we do that about every place. It's nothing personal. And if you think it's bad, whatever we say about where you live, why don't you go back and listen to the episode about where we live? And
yes.
It's much worse, actually, because we live here and we hate it here.
Yes. We certainly do. And we have said it many, many times. So like you said, sorry, not sorry.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're getting upset about it, you're definitely taking it too seriously. We are just joking. We would love to see all these places, even in beautiful Cleveland.
That's right.
But just don't take it too seriously, everybody. We're not here to try to put anybody down or anything like that. So.
No, not at all. We just, we like to laugh.
Absolutely. So, moving on, though, we are actually going to a new place this week, obviously, but we're going off the suggestion of the listener story that was sent in the last episode that we did.
Yay!
From Joe.
I am excited.
And we are going to, we've been asked to go to this area for a long time.
We have, yes.
So
this has been suggested by many.
It is, and this is a huge, I don't know too many people in this country who wouldn't know the area that we're going to. I don't know about the place, but the area for sure.
Yeah.
But 7 years ago, we are headed to...
the Farnsworth House Inn.
The Farnsworth House Inn. And this is a place I didn't even know about. I know about Gettysburg.
Right.
I mean, obviously, I went to school. It wasn't very good school. I do live in Florida. But, we all know Gettysburg. But this place has it's got a very interesting history. And it's very closely tied to, Abraham Lincoln and the war itself. It is... I just didn't know what I was getting into.
Rich in history,
Absolutely.
I'm sure.
But before we actually get into the story today, I think I alluded to the fact that we have a listener story, but this is part 1 of 3 parts.
Oh, my goodness.
And I think we have them all now, but we're only going to read you part 1 today.
Oh, you only get a little bit.
Well, we're going to drag it out because that's how it was sent in. And this comes from KW is what it says at the top. But here it goes. Hey, For the Booze. I think I started listening to y'all when I think you were up about 5 episodes, and I've been hooked on the show ever since. I consider myself part of the Booze Crew and the Fear Cult. So I decided to send in a story about a few things that happened to me, and some I know about others. I'm going to send in one story at a time, so y'all can have some listener stories. Well, we appreciate that. Well, this happened to me, I think I was about 13. I'm 40 now. And I was in my bedroom late at night. Remember when we had those cable channels with HBO, Showtime, and Cinemax scrambled? Well, I figured if I set my brightness and contrast just right, I could see the show. And well, let's just say it wasn't a show a 13-year-old was supposed to be watching. So the show is playing, and it's like 2 a.m. Saturday morning, and I got the TV on mute. Suddenly, I hear what sounded like heavy chains being dragged across the floor down the hallway outside my bedroom. I'm scared as hell, so I immediately put my head under the covers. At 13, I was afraid of the dark, and for some reason, I thought putting my head under the covers would protect me. It sounded like the chains started at the front of the hallway and stopped just outside my room. I was so scared, I thought at any minute something was going to grab me off the bed and kill me. I eventually fell asleep and woke up the next morning still scared. I thought it was a ghost coming to get me for sneaking and watching something nasty on TV, so I stopped. Well, that's it until it happened again 3 days later. And that's where part 1's going to end.
No.
You know,
Absolutely.
let me tell you my biggest takeaway from this story is I'm around the same age, and I fully remember watching what I called scrambled TV. And it was just anything you could do to just catch a glimpse of what might look like a boob. Oh, good times. Thank you for the story. And
gosh.
I haven't read any of these, so I'm going to be hearing these with everybody, but that's hilarious.
And can I just say, like, when you're a kid, that like cover over the head, like that's just everything.
That's you now.
Like, yes, that's me now.
That is you
I
now.
cover my face when I am scared, or I just like look off into the distance and turn my head.
But I mean, I think it's ingrained in all of us, that feeling of like, if I can't see me, they can't see me. But I totally relate to that, and the scrambled TV really brought me back. So thank you. I appreciate it. On a Saturday morning too. That is brave.
Yeah, so, I am definitely looking forward to more.
Yes, that's going to be a great little series.
I did not like that.
Okay, so we got to get on to the story of
Okay.
Farnsworth House Inn, and I think we're just going to go ahead and get into this.
All right, let's do it.
In 1761, Irishman Samuel Getty settled at the Shippensburg, Baltimore, and Philadelphia-Pittsburgh crossroads in what was then western York County and established a tavern frequented by soldiers and traders. In 1786, the borough boundary was established, with the Dobbin House Tavern, established in 1776, sitting in the southwest. As early as 1790, a movement seeking to split off the western portion of York County into a separate county had begun. A commission was drawn up to fix the site of the new county seat. They ultimately chose a location in Strabon Township, now Strabon Township, just northeast of Gettysburg. In 1791, additional trustees were appointed to plan for the construction of public buildings in the town of Gettysburg instead of in Strabon. On January 22, 1800, the Pennsylvania legislature created Adams County with Gettysburg as its county seat. In 1858, the Gettysburg Railroad completed construction of a railroad line from Gettysburg to Hanover, and the Gettysburg Railroad Station opened just a year later. Passenger train service to the town ended in 1942, and the station was restored again in 2006. In 2011, Senator Robert Casey introduced South 1897 Connell, which would include the railroad station within the boundary of Gettysburg National Military Park. By 1860, the borough had grown in size to consist of 450 buildings, which housed carriage manufacturing, shoemakers, and tanneries. Between July 1st and 3rd, 1863, the Battle of Gettysburg, one of the bloodiest battles during the American Civil War, was fought across the fields and heights in the vicinity of the town. The Confederate Army of Northern Virginia, under the command of Robert E. Lee, experienced success in the early stages of the battle, but was ultimately defeated by the Army of the Potomac, commanded by George G. Meade. Lee executed an orderly withdrawal and escaped across the Potomac River without being drawn into another battle. Meade was heavily criticized by President Abraham Lincoln for his cautious pursuit and failure to destroy Lee's retreating army. Casualties were high, with total losses on both sides. Over 27,000 Confederate and 23,000 Union. The residents of Gettysburg were left to care for the wounded and bury the dead following the Confederate retreat. Approximately 8,000 men and 3,000 horses lay under the summer sun. The soldiers' bodies were gradually relocated to what is known today as Gettysburg National Cemetery, where on November 19th, 1863, Abraham Lincoln attended a ceremony to officially consecrate the grounds and delivered his Gettysburg Address.
7 years ago, our father...
The Farnsworth House Inn, which was built sometime around 1810, is today a tourist attraction that operates both as an inn and a tourist shop. It's located in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and is believed to be extremely haunted due to its connections with the Battle of Gettysburg that took place in the 1860s. The Farnsworth House Inn is situated right in the heart of historic Gettysburg and is just yards from Cemetery Hill. Gettysburg Battlefield is also close by, and there are great public transport links to downtown Gettysburg. Guests can choose from one of the historic rooms in the main part of the house or the newer garden rooms in the more modern building. The inn is close to Carroll Valley Resort Golf Course and has good links to the airport. The Farnsworth House Inn is in good company. Fine Living magazine puts it in the same category as the legendary Don Cesar Beach Resort in St. Petersburg, Florida. It has the same distinction as the Hotel del Coronado in San Diego and the Queen Mary Hotel in Long Beach and the Lizzie Borden Bed and Breakfast in Fall River, Massachusetts. But what's the connection? They are all amongst the most haunted locations in America. The land that the inn was built on was previously owned by Reverend Alexander Dobbin, who subdivided a larger estate for the purpose of selling it. Reverend Dobbin, who built the Dobbin House, was an early frontier pioneer who had helped settle and civilize the area. Born in Ireland in 1742, he grew to be a man of keen foresight, a person highly respected by his peers, an educator of men of stature, a minister, and a rugged individual who played a major role in the founding of Gettysburg. After studying the classics in Ireland, Dobbin and his bride, Isabella Gamble, set sail for a new life in the New World. Shortly after his arrival in America, he became pastor of the Rock Creek Presbyterian Church, located 1 mile north of what is now Gettysburg. In 1774, Dobbin purchased 300 acres of land in and around what is now the town of Gettysburg and commenced construction of a farm and the Dobbin House for use as their dwelling and as a classical school, today's equivalent of a combined theological seminary and liberal arts college. John F. McFarland purchased the land that was subdivided and is stated to be the first recorded owner of the home that was to become the Farnsworth House Inn. In the 1830s, McFarland added a 3.5-story brick extension to the property. Today, both of the buildings have their original walls, flooring, and rafters. McFarland would own the land until he would later die in 1851. After his passing, the Bank of Gettysburg took ownership of the house, and following this transaction, the home was passed along to several owners until it was finally sold in 1972 to the Schultz family, who maintain ownership of the Farnsworth House Inn to this day. The Schultz family are noted as the first to report unexplainable activity occurring in the home. When the Civil War came to Gettysburg, the house was owned by Harvey Sweeney, who watched Lincoln's procession after the battle. Sweeney spent time between Illinois and Gettysburg in the 1860s, and when the Civil War broke out, his sons James and Henry joined Illinois' military units. Harvey Sweeney, noted for being extremely short-tempered and reportedly abusive to his loved ones, lived in part of the home, renting out the rest of it to Joseph Weichert and his family. During the battle, Confederate sharpshooters fired from the safety of its windows in the garret, killing Union soldiers. Supposedly, one of the sharpshooters accidentally shot Jenny Wade, who became famous for being tragically the only Gettysburg civilian who died during the battle. Afterward, wounded United States soldiers were brought into the house, which, like many other structures in Gettysburg, served as a hospital. And of course, many of those soldiers died on the premises. Harvey Sweeney himself died in Illinois on March 27, 1870. It is from this practice that many such places acquired their tales of hauntings over the years. Unfortunate as it was, these makeshift wards saw countless deaths and injuries to soldiers that were often treated by civilians. During the third day of Battle of Gettysburg, Union soldiers stormed the Farnsworth House Inn, killing many Confederate snipers who were posted within. Those snipers had been stationed there to utilize the towering structure in an attempt to pick off Union soldiers as they crossed the nearby Cemetery Hill. The house passed through the hands of several owners, and one of the later owners, the Black family, called it the Sleepy Hollow Inn, advertising that there were 135 bullet holes in the side of the home from the war. In 1972, Loring and Gene Schultz purchased Sleepy Hollow Inn, renaming it Farnsworth House Inn, in honor of Brigadier General Elon John Farnsworth, who led an ill-fated charge after the failure of Pickett's charge, claiming the lives of Farnsworth and 65 of his men. Today, the Farnsworth House Inn is a major tourist attraction for history buffs interested in the Civil War and the Battle of Gettysburg, and for lovers of all things paranormal. Its rich history serves as the backdrop for all of the otherworldly activity that is claimed to occur inside its walls. The inn has added additional accommodations over the years and has proven to be very successful. This is thanks in part to the wonderful displays of Civil War memorabilia, and the older rooms in the original wooden building are very historical. Of course, they also make good use of their reputation as one of the most haunted places in Gettysburg. Ghost walks and tours are available to the public, offering an inside look into the history that went into making the Farnsworth House Inn what it is today. Every weekend, real-life ghost hunts are held, allowing patrons to bring whatever kind of investigating equipment they wish in hopes of capturing one of the inn's many specters. As a matter of fact, the owners are so confident in the frequency of paranormal activity that they say guests shouldn't even try to find the ghosts, but that the ghosts will more than likely find them.
Wow, that confident, huh?
Yeah, they are.
I like that.
Many people have claims of things happening here at the Farnsworth House Inn, and it's very well known to be very haunted. So,
wow,
a lot of people have had their experiences.
Yeah,
a lot of people died here.
A lot of people.
Not even just there, but in and around the area.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
for sure.
The Battle of Gettysburg is probably one of the most famous, if not the most famous, battle that happened on American soil.
Agreed. So, yes.
Definitely harder to read all this when you haven't got it back yet. I'm still stuffy and having a hard time getting my breath. But it's an interesting history. Like I said, if you're American, which I know we have a lot of out of this country listeners, but it's pretty common knowledge here. But if you're not from the United States, then there's a little bit of American history for you. I mean, the rest is, we have rough history here. Yeah. I could see looking on the outside in why people shake their head at Americans.
Yeah.
We tend to do a lot of infighting.
It's rough.
But the Farnsworth House Inn, Abraham Lincoln's procession after the war, went right past there.
Yeah.
And I actually found stories that I think it was Sweeney who actually had talked to Lincoln.
Really?
Yeah, there's been a lot of interesting things that have happened here. So there's also a lot of very interesting claims that happen here at the Farnsworth House Inn that I know you're going to get to talk about. So Do you want to talk about them?
Yes, I am ready.
Well, unfortunately, before we do that, we are going to have to take the dreaded ad break.
Oh. And now, Booze Crew, back for the spooky stories. The Farnsworth House Inn is a charming inn and restaurant that is located in one of the most haunted places in the United States, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, the site of the crucial battle during the Civil War. The loss of life at Gettysburg was tremendous, and the entire area is steeped in heavy energy and riddled with the restless ghosts almost anywhere you go. The Farnsworth House offers more than just a bed and some sleep. Several of the rooms are allegedly haunted, with 6 actually being cited on their website. Gettysburg is not just a town with a haunted hotel. It's pretty much an entire haunted town itself. Wherever you stay, you may feel or see something out of place here. Overall, you'll find no shortage of ghost phenomena around town. Most common reports have been on the battlefield and Gettysburg College. There is, of course, a ghost tour at night, like many historic cities are now doing, that highlights the area's haunts. The Schultz family claims that 16 spirits reside at the inn, each one having its own name and personality. The spirits include an 8-year-old boy, several soldiers, and a former midwife. Seeing as how the residence was used as a hospital during the Battle of Gettysburg, the sightings of a midwife and soldiers seem to validate their claims. With the many members of the Confederate Army who died in the home, it leaves little to no doubt as to why so many apparitions of soldiers are claimed to have been seen here. They say that these soldiers continued to patrol the house as if stuck in a continual loop, forever fulfilling their military duties. There have been numerous reports over the years of guests hearing the sound of heavy breathing, along with the pungent odor of cigars, perhaps once being smoked by the commanding officer that used the home as a temporary headquarters. One very eerie account, to say the least, and what is most certainly attributed to the ghostly midwife. Guests who stay at the inn have experienced the sensation of being tucked into bed once under the covers. There are several photographs of an entity in a window that people have captured from the street below. These most commonly come from a particular room referred to as the Sarah Black Room, named after one of the family members who previously owned the residence. This room is by far considered the most haunted of any other room within the house. One of the more common encounters at the Farnsworth House Inn seems to occur only in the dead of night, when everything is quiet and calm. In the empty attic, the sound of a Jew's harp can be heard playing tunes throughout the night, believed to have been played by a young soldier while at his post. This creepy event is sure to scare anyone who might be staying there for the night. Disembodied footsteps are also a common occurrence, as if pacing or patrolling up and down the halls. While fulfilling their daily tasks, employees have attested to feeling the sensation of being followed around while working. But when they turn around, no one seems to be there. These footsteps are claimed to be quite loud and very obvious. Ghastly silhouettes have even been seen by many patrons of the house, including its employees. They say these apparitions are visible in several rooms, quickly vanishing after making themselves known to the living. One such figure is predominantly seen in the dining room, while others have been witnessed sitting on the edges of guest beds. It's even been said that the mattresses will invert where the ghost is sitting, as if weight is being applied. While male apparitions are mostly seen at the Farnsworth House Inn, there are many accounts of a female spirit, thought to have lived within the residence long ago. She is said to be extremely lifelike. Patrons have even mistaken her as a staff member. She is described as being an older woman who is dressed in 19th century clothing and is most often seen roaming about between the hallways, tavern, and kitchen. She has been spotted looking over products on the shelves, almost as if she's deciding what she'll fix for dinner. In what appears to be an effort to make her presence known, she will sometimes visit the restaurant area, where they say she behaves rather rudely to the eatery staff. She has even been physical with them, as one waitress claims to have been pulled behind by her apron strings, almost causing her to fall backwards. There is, however, a more lighthearted tale to be told out of all of the haunted happenings known to occur within the Farnsworth house. A few years back, during Halloween, a local radio station was doing a special broadcast from the house that involved the crew dressing up in blue costumes. In an interesting twist, they kept referring to the radio host as Captain. Their blue clothing and repeated use of the word captain seemed to stir up the ghost of the soldiers, who were seen on that particular evening more so than any other time. They were witnessed running all over the house, as if fighting a battle of Gettysburg all over again. The Farnsworth House Inn is named after Brigadier General Elon Farnsworth, who led a second charge after Pickett's charge resulting in the death of many of his men. The inn was used to shelter Confederate sharpshooters during the Battle of Gettysburg, and it is believed that one of them was responsible for the death of the only civilian during the battle, Jenny Wade. The Wade House is within shooting distance from the attic of the Farnsworth House Inn. The house has been considered one of the most haunted locations in Gettysburg. On January 19th, 2014, the Blue Ridge Paranormal Society, or BRPS, conducted a 2-night investigation of the inn. During the investigation, they were able to catch a range of disembodied voices and footsteps to a little black mass, which is believed to be the energy of a boy named Jeremy, who was killed outside of the building by a horse and carriage. The first evening's investigation consisted of a brief investigation at the Grove, which was behind the Gettysburg Middle School, approximately 2 blocks from the Farnsworth House Inn, followed by the main investigation at the Farnsworth House proper. Once the main investigation began at the Farnsworth House, 2 photos showed orb activity in the basement early in the evening. In addition, other orbs were found in the room named the Jeremy Room. The BPRS members also had a unique experience in the McFarlane Room. They held a K2 session to ask yes or no questions with any spirits who were in the room with them. It seemed to be active, and they found themselves corresponding with what they believe was a childlike spirit by the name of Sissy, who died at the age of 3.5 years old. 3 photos would show a specific orb with a blue-purple hue and appeared to be very vibrant. The first photo shows a vibrant purple light at the bottom left of the picture. The second photo shows a large orb in the upper left-hand side of the picture. The orb shows a central core as well as a vibrant purple streak, which appears to show motion. The third photo shows the orb located on the pillow sham and appears to still show itself as a vibrant purple in the photo. The last photo, taken from the first night of the Farnsworth House Inn, appears to have been taken in the Sarah Black room. It appears to show a face in a mirror on the wall. The majority of the activity occurred in the basement of the Farnsworth House Inn, where a flashlight, yes or no correspondence with the spirit child named Jeremy, occurred. A disembodied voice and sounds of banging and footsteps outside the Sarah Black room were also noted. However, they were unfortunately not recorded. All these videos are available on YouTube if you would like to listen and watch under the name Mid-Atlantic Paranormal Investigations, or MPI. We once again decided to search the internet to see what people who have been there say about it. On October 21st, 2013, Lorraine 593 on TripAdvisor.com writes,
My family took the ghost tour of the attic and cellar of the Farnsworth house 2 weeks ago. Well, let me tell you, that place is really haunted. We were up in the attic. The guide was telling her story when all of a sudden, the door that was closed swung open. I know what you're going to say. The door was not closed over enough and swung open because another door somewhere in the house was opened or closed. The guide asked the gentleman that was on the tour with his family to close the door and latch it. Well, he did. The guide explained that a little boy was hit by a horse and buggy back in the day and was brought to the Farnsworth house where he died, and the boy likes to play with the guests. With that being said, we heard the latch jiggling. We all saw it, and the latch came out of the eye and the door swung open. Shortly after, my son, who was 9, told my daughter, who was 3, to stop poking him in the back. Well, my daughter was about 2 feet away from him, sitting next to me on a bench. My son was sitting on the floor with me behind him, and no one else touched him. The cellar is almost as bad. There are a lot of decorations down there to set the mood. Coffins, candles, skeletons, etc. But I was sitting in one corner of the cellar. After a while, one shoulder got cold. I mean, cold. Like it went down to the bone cold. I definitely recommend this tour.
In February 2022, Tom G. 66 967 on TripAdvisor.com writes,
We stayed 3 nights at the Farnsworth Inn. This was our 4th trip, and so far, we have stayed in 5 of the rooms. This trip was our spookiest to date. Eisenhower room. We were both touched, and my blanket was tucked between my feet. Lincoln room was pretty quiet the 2nd night. The 3rd night was the best. We stayed in the Sarah Black room and had the entire property to ourselves as there were no other guests that evening. I caught a nice EVP of a little boy walking and giggling, and heard many noises throughout the night. Overall, the experience was amazing, and every stay there is. Breakfast is still one of our favorites, as everything is delicious. We cannot wait for our next visit to knock out a few more rooms off our bucket list.
In October of 2020, Stephen M. on TripAdvisor.com writes,
My 9th trip to Gettysburg was another success. At Farnsworth House Inn, I got voices and a whistle. All very clear on my voice recorder. All the bed and breakfasts and Gettysburg were used as field hospitals. 51,000 casualties in 3 days in 1863. Breakfast is included. The check-in desk is in the bookstore, across from the Sweeney Tavern next door. This is a great place to find ghosts. Many have had experiences here. The rooms are clean, and the staff are very accommodating. Angel, the check-in person, was a sweetie. She was very helpful in my quests for ghosts. The bookstore is very haunted too. She is loaded with information and also does ghost tours. I have already booked next year's vacation there. I totally recommend this place.
And one more. In November 2019, TV John writes,
My son and I stayed in the Schultz room for 3 nights. Small, since the bathroom was added in the early 20th century. Unless you know what to expect, better not stay here. This place is haunted. Damn, and I do mean haunted. Either that, or the power of suggestion nearly shoved my big old butt off the side of the bed the last morning we stayed there. If it hadn't been for the small room and the fact that the radiator heater was only about 5 inches from the edge of the bed, I would have fallen off when I was shoved very hard on my shoulder. I was sleeping on my right side. I lay awake for half an hour after trying to rationalize what I felt or think happened. I tried to brush it off as a dream, but then I realized my arm was still sore from where it was shoved. No bruise or mark, but it does make you think. Yes, there was a little of no alcohol, and never any drugs involved before you ask. This happened at about 6:30 a.m., after having slept for 8 or so hours. The other story is too long to tell, and complicated to explain and review. I love this place, and I'll be back.
The cellar of the inn during the Civil War was a makeshift field hospital. Amputations were performed in such massive amounts that there were records saying the dismembered limbs would pile up outside. A pair of Confederate soldiers are said to haunt the Eisenhower room and have been known to frequently wake up sleeping guests, who they label as Yankees, and question why they are sleeping in their bed. The Farnsworth embraces its ghostly history and regularly operates ghost tours from its property, and even has special sessions where ghost hunting equipment is provided, and guests are allowed to become ghost hunters for themselves. So if you're up for the challenge and are brave enough to visit one of the most haunted hotels in the world, then the Farnsworth House Inn is a perfect stop for you.
Man, I couldn't imagine getting pushed out of bed by something that's not there.
Right?
That would freak me out.
No thanks. I have, you know how like you have like a falling dream and like you feel like
Oh, I had a dream the other night that woke me up super bad.
I know, but like you have like a jerking movement, or
Yes,
like you kind
exactly.
of feel like you're rolling off the side of the bed,
Yes.
but you are like, those are jarring enough.
Oh, yeah.
Let alone to have something do that to you. I don't know.
I also wanted to bring up the lady in the kitchen area who messes with the servers. How does that make you feel?
She should probably lay off the servers.
Leave them alone, girl. God, girl, leave them alone. Now, I did take to the internet to find some EVPs. I found some videos, and we are going to play them. I know one for sure is an EVP.
Yes.
The rest of them, I'm not too sure about. So they're not very long. So even if they're not EVPs, we'll get to hear some cool stuff about the Farnsworth House Inn.
Heck yeah.
And this first one is from Facebook. This is actually from the Farnsworth House Inn Facebook page.
Ooh, cool.
And it says, have you stayed in the Lincoln Room? ? And that's all it says. So I think,
ominous.
yeah, it's about 2 minutes. Like I said, I, just like everybody else, have no idea what this is. So let's check this one out.
All right, let's do it.
We're here at the historic Farnsworth House Inn, about ready to go into our Lincoln Room. This room is named after our 16th president, Abraham Lincoln, and it's located in our garden area. So it has its own private entrance, and it's also one of our jacuzzi suites. It's really nice for honeymoons or romantic getaways. Even though it's not located in the original part of the home, there still are a lot of paranormal accounts from people that have stayed here of experiences that they've had.
A lot of people will think that they only get activity in the house itself, and that's not necessarily true. Most of our spirits are free roaming. We've encountered them even in our bookstore across the property from the house itself. In this room in particular, there has been some shadow figure activity. A good story in here was I had a paranormal night, which is our investigation here that runs from 8 p.m. till 2 in the morning. And you can look up online where your next one will be if you'd like to join us. It was a paranormal night where we had a couple, they were fighting, so the girlfriend wanted to stay behind, and they just happened to stay in this room. Now, she stayed in here, and we went to the Grove, which is part of our investigation. When we came back, we saw her standing outside this door here with her clothes and her bags thrown out the door everywhere. Her boyfriend asked what's going on. And she said when she was laying in the bed here in the Lincoln Room that the TV turned on to the white static with white noise, and the rocking chair in this room was rocking violently, enough that she grabbed her stuff and ran out the door as fast as she could. So, even though you might not be staying in the house in particular, you never know when a paranormal experience can happen to you here at the Farnsworth.
Dude.
Whoa.
No. Jeez. I was expecting that when I popped into that video.
No, thank you.
My goodness. Could you imagine? Because I thought it was going to be like they were both on the tour together and they were like, oh, what happened? I don't know.
Yeah.
And
Nope.
Wow, man. Wow. That is very creepy.
Yes.
Extremely. I'm gonna skip over the EVP one just because I know it's an EVP.
Okay.
And now I think this is going to be about the same thing. It's going to be about the Sarah Black Room, though.
Ooh.
Also from the Farnsworth House Inn Facebook page. And that video was so good. Why not, right?
Yeah, right.
This one says...
Definitely check them all out.
Yeah, for sure. This one says, explore the Sarah Black Room with us. Who has a story to share? So I think we should check this one out because I really enjoyed the last one. So now any of these I see, I'm going to have to listen to.
Heck yeah.
So here we go.
We're here at the historic Farnsworth House Inn, and we're about to go into the Sarah Black Room. The Sarah Black Room was named after Sarah Black Gideon, the previous owner of the home before the Schultz family purchased it in 1972. It was the Sleepy Hollow Lodge at that point, and there actually still is an original sign hanging down in the entryway of the house. The Sarah Black Room is one of our most popular rooms here, and it is located right on Baltimore Street in the original part of the home. Now, it's also popular not only for its location, but because it is one of the most active rooms in the house. So we have some stories for you about people that have stayed in here and their experiences, just to kind of give you an idea of what you can expect if you would stay in here for a night.
So, Sir Black Room here is, it's true, it's known to be one of the most haunted rooms in the house. And a lot of people think the reason why is because Jeremy actually passed away in the bathroom of the room here. So a lot of people will bring toys for him, different kind of balls that roll on the floor, monster trucks, car toys, things like that. And people will say that they do see them moving. Now we do have also people who have got their feet grabbed on this bed a lot. So if you're tall, this might not be the best room for you. And there also is the sound of kids running back and forth in this room quite a lot. Some people do not make it all the way through the night in this room.
If you're interested in staying in the Sarah Black Room, you can contact our guest services or visit our website to reserve your night. Our number is 717-334-8838.
I'm not very tall, so I think I'm good to go on that one. And you're super short, so.
Yes, I definitely am. But I don't want to get my feet grabbed. That's for sure.
No, I wouldn't like that either.
Mm-mm.
So next we're gonna end this one out on the EVP at the Farnsworth House Inn, and I haven't listened to this in either of you, so you know the deal. Even if I see what it says, I'm not saying anything to you. You have to tell me what you think it says.
Okay.
Okay, but there is a description, so I always feel the need to read that. It's only fair to the content creator. This comes from Adams469 on YouTube, so make sure you go check them out, and if they have other videos, like and subscribe. Shout out. It says, Farnsworth House, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, EVP session in the attic. You can hear us asking questions with an EVP response of, I'm not telling you, Megan. It's at the 11-second mark. This was captured in the attic on a portable camcorder, which we are in the market for.
We are.
We are trying to get our ghost hunting equipment up so we can do this house before we leave.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
But definitely like right before we leave.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to live in it.
I have a recent story.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
All right. Jesus. All right, here we go.
Come on and move something. Use our energy and just move something. I don't care what it is. Can you touch someone in the room that you like?
Wow.
That instantly gave me goosebumps. It
Right.
was something about like, do you want to go outside or
I'll play it again.
something?
I'm going to play it one more time.
Okay.
I do know what it says.
Okay.
And because I've read it, I can definitely hear it for sure. So I'll try to bump the sound up just a little bit. I don't want to blow it out and distort it on the final, edit, but
Yeah.
I'll try to turn it up a little bit more. So here we go.
Come on and move something. Use our energy and just move something. I don't care what it is. Can you touch someone in the room that you like?
It's a pretty loud voice.
Oh my God. And it sounds like it's like so far away. Like they're like yelling in a tunnel. That's weird.
So
I don't like that. I still heard like the same thing.
it says on your side.
On your side. I knew I
Yes.
heard side.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But it's yelling on your side, almost like maybe like if somebody was being pointed at by a rifle from a window.
Wow.
They're like, "Hey, I'm on your side."
Crazy, dude.
Wow.
Oh
That's a
my
good
God.
one.
That was a really
Dude,
good
that was
one.
a good EVP. We
That
had
was
to
super good.
we had to have a few bumps in the road before we got there, but man, that was a good one. So that's the Farnsworth House Inn in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Oh, that was super cool. I really like that
Yeah,
one.
that was a good location to do. But
yeah. Thank you for the listener suggestion.
Absolutely, Joe. We appreciate
much
it.
appreciated.
And always reach out. He's been feeding me some news stories, so whenever we get around to doing another For the News, we're going to bring up this topic. I think it's a pretty good one. So
Nice.
So yeah, the Farnsworth House Inn. We have heard the history and discussed the mystery.
We have.
And there's a question that I need to ask you, Megan.
Okay.
And it goes a little something like this.
Is it real?
I'm going to ask her. So, Megan, me and him would like to know if you think the Farnsworth House Inn is really haunted.
Well, I am not going to talk in circles this week.
Are you sure? Because it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. This place is definitely haunted.
Okay.
I am 100% sure that this place is haunted.
The girl who said she wasn't going to mess up.
But I think there is way too many things that have happened, recorded, video evidence, things like that, EVPs, like that creepy one we just heard, and the history, like we talk about all the time, and there's just so much death on this place that I definitely believe something has stayed behind.
Okay.
So what about you?
I think it is also haunted. I mean, this is Gettysburg. If there's going to be a place, this is a good one to go with. I mean, 50,000 deaths occurred right here in this little town.
Yeah, 51,000.
Well, whatever. I mean, we could argue numbers, but we don't have tally sheets.
I read it. That's what it said.
I wrote it. But yeah, I think this is a good, this is as good a place as any. If something's going to be haunted, I think this could be it. And the fact that all these buildings were used as makeshift hospital wards where people were getting amputated and dying and bolts ripped out of their tattered bodies. I mean, that's
crazy.
It's just filled. So I'm not going to talk around a lot about it either. I do think this place is haunted. So that means this place gets
The big old seal of approval.
and that is the Farnsworth House Inn. And yeah, so thank you, Joe.
That was a good one.
I would. This is a place I would like to visit. I think this would be a really cool one. Maybe look, if we ever go back to Massachusetts to visit, it's not that far. I mean, it's not close, but it's not that far. It's drivable.
Yeah.
So maybe one of these days we'll get to check it out.
Man, that's super cool. I really like that a lot.
Yeah.
It was a good one.
Now I have to figure out what we're going to do for next week. So
Well,
this is where we're going to end it. And where can they find us?
they can find us on Instagram at @forthebooze_podcast and on Facebook at @forthebooze.
And you can also find us at Twitter at For the Booze and also on YouTube if you'd like to watch our little non-video video at, you guessed it, For the Booze. And if you have a listener suggestion, if you want to tell us a story, a spooky story that you'd like to have read on the show, or you would like to just say, hey guys, hey, you rock.
Hello.
Send it on over to forthebooze12@gmail.com. And I keep forgetting to mention this, but 5 stars, rate and review.
Yes.
They're not coming in.
I know.
And we need those to move up. So if you love the show like we love you, then we need those reviews. So don't forget, anywhere that you listen, it works. Spotify, Apple, whatever. 5 stars, rate and review. We'd appreciate it.
Yes.
And I'm going to
thank you
keep
so much.
I'm going to keep it open. The idea of if anybody wants to draw up a new logo for the show,
Yes.
and we accept
Super
it,
cool.
we will make a shirt for you. And I'll just keep it open until we get something, till some stuff happens. But that's the show.
Until then, that's the show.
That's the show. So I guess we will see them on the next one.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Hopefully nobody gets super sick again, though.
Oh, my God, no. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.